Wallabies in Scotland this weekend, folks, from Murrayfield, ranked 6 against rank number 8 in the world. Number 6 is an important spot to be in given the way the Rugby World Cup draw will work, with 6th being the final of the top-seeded spots. So an important spot to stay in. The Wallabies will have their eyes on that one. They are visiting Murrayfield for the first time since 2022. Squads have been named. We'll go through them and you guys can let us know your thoughts. My daughter was crook yesterday and I feel like she's been sharing those bugs with me because I don't feel great. So we'll get through this one as quick as we can. The Scots have reverted to basically their A team after playing the B team guys against the Portuguese, for want of a better word. So return of Pierre Schoolman, Ewan Ashman in the front rows, and Ferguson there as well. So that's basically Scotland's premier scrummaging front row. Cummings and Gilchrist are back in the second row, and Richie, Darge and Ferguson in the back row. No Jack Dempsey, remember he's injured, but that's a whole lot of tackles with Richie, Darge and Ferguson. So the Aussies will need to be careful in terms of their attacking play because these guys will not only tackle the house down, but there's a few ball winners in terms of their work at the ruck. Ben White and Finn Russell are still the preferred 9-10 combo, and it's an attacking-minded backline. Certainly with two captains, he's got that telepathic relationship going with Hugh Jones, Duan van der Merwe and Darcy Graham. Scotland's 2 top try scorers of all time, and then Blair Kinghorn shifts back to his more familiar fullback spot. Dylan Richardson's on the bench, Josh Bayliss as well, Will Hurd, those guys all played, well, Richardson didn't, but the other guys played last week. Likewise, Tom Jordan drops to the bench, and George Horn as well. Hopefully George Horn gets some decent game time because he is one to spark an attack from the bench. For the Wallabies, they have rotated a wee bit, remembering they've still got an extra game against Ireland. This is not their final game of the season, so they've potentially got an eye on next week. Same front row with Bell, Fassler and Alatoa. Still no Tupou in the squad this week. Apparently he's just returning fit to play, but Joe Schmidt didn't really want to risk him. Jeremy Williams comes in for Nick Frost, who was a bit fatigued after the last game. Remember, it's a 6-day turnaround for the Wallabies boys. Will Skelton likewise continues on in the second row, so he'll be adding that bit of punch to scrum time with that big bulk of his. Valentini switches to 6 from 8. Tizano is in at 7, replacing McCright, who's also a bit fatigued. Different kind of players, but Tizano will probably be the top tackler for the Wallabies because that's basically what he does. And Harry Wilson returns to captain the side from number 8. Jake Gordon's back from that cut on his face, which kept him out last week, so he's in at 9. Lolosio continues at 10. Ikitau and Joseph Suali'i is the midfield, so Ikitau switches back to 12, where he played alongside Suali'i against England. That guy's skill set in the air was phenomenal. If you didn't see it, watch the highlights. Callaway is on one wing. Harry Potter is on the left. He's going to get his Wallabies debut, so congratulations to him. And Tom Wright continues on at fullback. Isaac Kalea replaces Slipper as the loose head replacement, so it's a little bit less on the experience scale, to put it mildly. Otherwise, the bench is unchanged, with Jorgensen dropping to the bench for this one. Stats-wise, the Scots have had some pretty prolific attacking stats in 2024, although we need to keep into account they have played some teams which have not been the kind of top-tier quality in their tour of the Americas and whatnot, so they bolster them a wee bit, but even against some of the Tier 1 teams, they have looked sharp, although they've not been as prolific in terms of the try scoring. I think the only Tier 1 side they've scored 4 against is Italy this year. Tackling percentage, though, is cracking, not just against the Tier 2 sides, and they also love an offload, averaging 9 per game. For the Wallabies, averaging 360 metres in the Rugby Championship per game, but 600 in their last 2 games up north, so things seem to be clicking. Obviously, they played Wales, who aren't the strongest of sides, but they did well in that one, and also pretty solid against England too. They've also scored more tries, the Wallabies, in their last 2 games than the entire Rugby Championship combined. Their offload rate has also dramatically increased. Last 2 games, more than the 6 games of the Rugby Championship put together. So both these sides hopefully going to play some pretty entertaining rugby. Recent history-wise, if we're looking back at the last 5, it's 3-2 to Scotland with it bookended, the oldest and most recent games going the Wallabies' way. They tend to be close. There's only one game which is a blowout, 53-24 back in 2017. Otherwise, these games are all within a score, average score 26-19 to the Scots. Scots are predicted to get it done with the bookies and the algorithm. 3 say the bookies, 8 says the algorithm. It's on Edinburgh. 1:40 afternoon kickoff is a horrendous time for those of us in Australia and New Zealand. Chris Busby, the Northern Irishman, is the ref. I'm going to go have a lie down. You guys let us know your thoughts on how this one is going to go. I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.